Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May Builder Town Hall. I'm Meredith Oliver, and this is the 26th wedding anniversary edition. That's my wedding anniversary edition today of Builder Town Hall. All kidding aside, today is May 3rd, and we are so glad you are here. We have a huge show lined up for you with one of the brightest, most innovative, and fun minds in marketing in our industry. So I want you to stay tuned for our featured interview while I get through a couple of announcements. So if you're not familiar with me, Meredith Oliver, I'm the president and co-founder of Meredith Communications. We're a digital marketing agency for home builders and related companies. We love what we do. We love helping builders expand their online presence, resulting in more connections, more conversations, more clicks, and of course, more closings. So we are thrilled to be the sponsor, the producer, the host of Builder Town Hall. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Angela McKay of O'Neill Interactive, and Kerry Mulcrone of Kerry & Co. And you'll meet them in just a few minutes. So this particular interview is a precursor. It's a lead up, if you will, to a webinar that we're doing on May 14th through ECI, where we are going to do an encore version of our Builders Show presentation, Unleashing the Fun Factor. So that is all about what it takes to be great at marketing in 2024 and how you can add a dash of fun, of humor, of warmth to your marketing, and how that requires a culture, a team of people that are invested in that in order for that to happen. It doesn't just happen because you come up with a funny joke and put it in a Facebook post. It's a result of your entire team working together that enjoy working together, that are on a common mission, that enjoy having fun, and it leaks out all over the place into your marketing, your sales, your customer service, etc. So that's what our program's about. And if you weren't able to make the Builder Show, or if you were there, but you were at a conflicting presentation 2 miles away in another building, and there was no way to get to our building to see it, which happens a lot at the Builder Show, being such a big venue and so many people, then this is for you. So ECI Lasso CRM is hosting the webinar. You can find it on the Lasso ECI/Lasso website. I'm sure Angela can find the link and put it in chat if she hasn't already, so you can register. And there, Kerry and Angela and I, in a more of a traditional webinar format, will go through that presentation. But to warm you up for that, I wanted to show you an example of the fun factor in action. And so as I was sitting at the Nationals this year at the Builder Show, and if you're not familiar with the Nationals, that is our Oscar awards, if you will, of sales and marketing and product in the industry. And that happens at the International Builder Show every year. And every year I sit there and I watch Schell Brothers win at least one award for incredibly creative and almost always very fun marketing. So when I thought about how can we show this in action, Alyssa and Schell Brothers was my first choice, and she was so kind to agree to do this interview from an email right off the bat. I didn't even have to beg or bribe, which was awesome. So we're going to talk to her in just a few minutes. Before we do that, I want to give you a few tips of my own on being creative, on how to add fun into your marketing, into your messaging, and creativity into your everyday life. Because if you want to cultivate a sense of innovation and creativity and think differently about things so that it does come out in your marketing, that is a practice that you have to cultivate. So that's my first point to you. It's not something that just magically appears overnight. And I had to learn this myself. I've had many, many classes and sessions, seminars, everything ranging from stand-up comic school, where I went and learned some of the main tools and techniques that stand-up comics use to come up with great lines that they use to punch up copy, or to use on stage. Now, I've never done an actual performance, but I learned a lot learning from them, all the way to I've been in many, many storytelling seminars, sessions, master sessions, and they all have said the same thing. If you want to be creative, number one, it's a practice you have to cultivate. And it's something, number two, you have to be patient for. So it's not going to happen overnight. If you think right now, I am not a funny person, I am not a creative person. Well, first of all, those limiting beliefs are what's hurting you off the bat. So we want to eliminate those limiting beliefs. And instead, we want to replace those with, I am learning to become, I can be a funny person, a creative person, a great storyteller, whatever it is that you're wanting to infuse more of, either into your conversation abilities, into your marketing, etc. So, what is your creative process? If I'm telling you that it's a practice, that it's a process that you have to develop, do you have one? Those of you that are kind of with me on this journey I'm taking you on, then what is it? I can tell you, for me, it's very organic. And I have come to accept that over the years. For me, I have come to accept that if I force it, if I sit down and go, be funny right now, funny does not happen for me. But if I plan and if I start way in advance, so let's say that I'm trying to come up with a marketing campaign for one of our clients. We want to do a twist on something. We want to do something different. We don't want to do just the same old, same old. Let's say it's February, which is Heart Health Month, so a lot of times, and it's Valentine's Day. So a lot of times we do, love our customer related campaigns and promotions, right, for our builders. So knowing that that's coming, I might back up all the way to December because I know my creative process needs time to simmer. I'm a simmerer. Now, you might be the kind of person that works best under pressure. You're a diamond under pressure kind of person. And for you to start way back, that's not going to do you any good. You've got to sit down, start drinking the Red Bull, and just pound it out. Whatever it is fine. But what I'm saying is, do you know what your creative process is? I do best when I'm isolated without any distractions around me. I also do my best creative work in a really new environment. So when I've written my books behind me, I've rented an Airbnb. I've taken out 3 or 4 days at a hotel with a balcony and a gorgeous view. I never got to go do any of that stuff, but I looked out at it while I typed away because I knew that was part of my creative process. So I'm a simmerer. I like great visuals. I like no distractions. And so all of these things I know I have to put into place for me to come up with several great ideas. And if if that all doesn't happen, then I might come up short. The other thing that I've learned about my creative process is that I almost always come up with something. There were years where I would get so panicked and be filled with fear that a great idea was not going to happen. And those feelings of fear only inhibit creativity. So that's why I'm saying know what your creative process is and then trust it. And these days, I know to trust my creative process 1,000%. It will come through for me. Now, there have been times it didn't come through until the night before the big speech, but it came through. I had been simmering on it for however long, and finally, the right thing clicked, and out came a fantastic line or idea. Now, what's new, of course, in today's world is the opportunity to supercharge some of your creative thoughts and ideas with AI. Prior to AI coming along, you would need, if you are the type of person whose creative process needs another person to get like real mojo going, and you're bouncing off of each other and you're laughing, maybe there's a cocktail involved, and then boom, out comes the most amazing idea ever. If that's how you work, well, good news, you can still do it that way, but you've also got the ability of the AI tools to put in rough, raw ideas and say, give me 10 more that are different from this. Give me, I want to do a campaign like this and write it up like you're a pirate. Not that that's a good idea. I'm just saying you can play around with these tools and get really silly. And before you know it, somewhere in all of that weirdness is a gem of gold that your human intelligence takes and goes, that's my idea. That is the kernel of the idea for the campaign. I love it. Lastly, what I will share with you, well, two more things. How do I keep track of ideas? I'm always, always looking. This is another thing I was taught about the practice of creativity. You don't just turn it on and off when you need it. You are constantly looking. So as you interact with somebody at Starbucks and something cool happens, you jot that down. Maybe it's in a little journal you carry around with you. Maybe it's in the notes app on your phone. I'm a big researcher, so for me, I get a lot of ideas out of articles. I use the Pocket app to save articles to that app to easily access them later to fully flesh out an idea. But you don't want to wait too long until the moment of I need one to before you start collecting them. So great ideas, great stories, opportunities are everywhere around you as you go around in the world and as you interact. They come from amazing experiences, they come from terrible experiences, and they just come from life. And before you know it, you can have a journal full of nuggets of potential themes, things you've heard from that customers have said, things that you know are the reasons people buy your homes. And you go back to that, you take that to your team, you work that through your creative process, whatever that looks like. And before you know it, you have the kernel of something really cool that eventually is worthy of the fun factor. Lastly, I would just say when you are doing something fun, and you're going to see, we're going to play a couple of Schell Brothers commercials for you as we're talking to Alyssa and doing the interview. And they're so pitch perfect because they land kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, if you will. When she gets into the room, into the bedroom, there's the too soft, which I would equate to too corny, eye roll, nobody's going to take it seriously humor. That's kind of just like, whatever. I don't, And then there's on the other end, too hard. Like, I don't get it. I didn't get the joke. Like, either it wasn't a household name or it wasn't commonly enough phrase or experience. It wasn't part of like everyday life, household name type recognition. So there was a bunch of us that just looked at it and went, I don't know what they're talking about. And then Goldilocks right in the middle was the just right, was the fun humor, but I also got the message. I know who the brand was. I know what the product was. And it hit me right, either in the heartstrings or in the haha laugh moment. But it hit me just right. So be careful when you're adding fun. You don't want to go to either of the extremes. You want to hit right in the middle. And that is so subjective. Many times, what one person thinks is funny or fun to someone else is eye roll cringe, and to someone else's, I don't even get it. Like, I was recently doing a talk and made a Seinfeld reference about like no soup for you, and half of the audience crickets, because you know how old that reference is now. Oh, what's happening to our society that we don't know no soup for you? That's another whole rant altogether. Okay. Lastly, my biggest tip for you is when you're trying to be creative and fun and you're in your creative process, you know what your process is, you're starting to come out with ideas. Whatever first 5 ideas you come out with, those are probably the standard things that most people do. Like if you're doing, again, we love our customers with Valentine's Day. Write them down, but do the opposite. That is one of my favorite things, and that is how I come up with most things, including Builder Town Hall. When I thought about right at the start of COVID that we needed a way to talk to each other and communicate and share, and I thought, what are all of the things that are out there now? Oh, webinars, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. And then I listed them all out. And then I did my favorite thing, which is do the opposite. And I said, what is the opposite of that? An unscripted live stream with no slides and where we talk to a lot of people. Everyone's included and it's free. And there's no selling, like on and on and on and on. And that's how Builder Town Hall was born. So I encourage you to push yourself, not to do the obvious sometimes, but to do something more creative and just a little bit more fun. Okay, so I'm going to welcome back my wonderful, fun co-hosts, Kerry and Angela, and our very special guest, Alyssa Titus of Schell Brothers. Make sure we get everybody unmuted. Okay, that looks good. Okay, good. All right, we're doing good. Any feedback on like some of my initial tips or thoughts on creativity, being creative? Having worked with me, ladies, does any of that sound familiar?
Yeah. You mean when your crazy hits and we get the
Yes.
call of said, yes. Should we do that? And we're like, sometimes we say, you go do that. That sounds
perfect. You know, something that was interesting, Meredith, is I'm a little bit of both. I'm a simmerer, but I'm also under pressure. So I simmer for, a few weeks until I'm under pressure to really produce. And it's kind of, there's a name for that when you have to have a deadline. I can't, I'm going to look it up, but there's a name for, that where your time expands based on how much time you have is how long it's going to take you to do it. Right. So whether it's 24 hours or whether it's 6 weeks, you find.
I agree 100% with you, Angela, which I'll tell you what comes to fruition with, you are a simmerer, but then like you are with a deadline coming up, you're amazing.
She gets on fire.
So what happens is your trust gets built, because when you say, I've got something, I just let it go. I trust, because I know at the end of that simmer is some pot of something that's going to boil over.
Yeah.
Simmer will go to boil.
Yeah.
I usually come through.
Alyssa, how about you? How does your creative process work usually?
That's a good question. Well, I'm a person who never turns their brain off, even though I try. So I'm always thinking, and I was a business person before I joined Schell Brothers. So every place I go, I'm consistently like, not just looking for an idea, but analyzing what I'm seeing and thinking, oh, well, I love that they're doing this, or, oh gosh, they should do that, not this. So I'm constantly brainstorming in my head, and my husband is really creative too. So we're always talking about work. We're always bouncing things off of each other. And I'm lucky enough to have an awesome team. So I'm really collaborative. Like, we'll come together as a team informally. We do have a formal meeting each week, but most of our best ideas, we're just kind of, it's the end of the day and we're all tired and we're like, joking around, and we come up with this crazy idea. And then we maybe talk about it in a more structured manner to kind of layer on coolness,
Yeah.
Interesting on that, Alyssa, that you can speak to two things that I kind of know about you and Schell Brothers is, I love identifying yourself as a collaborator, because I am on my own. I make myself tired. So a collaborator, but the team part of behind the doors at Schell Brothers is an in-house marketing team.
Yes. And I'm really lucky.
Yeah. Speak to that, because I think that's really valuable.
So it's an interesting thing that you pointed out, that, sometimes you have to do things under fire, and sometimes you can be really thoughtful about something and take a lot of time. And we do both here. And, there's many times when it's like, oh my gosh, this fire's burning. We need to sell this house, or we need to launch this community that we kind of just figured out. And so having an in-house team makes occasions like that so much easier, because it's like, okay, guys, let's get in a room, figure this out. I don't need to, reach out to my web designer, who's a third party, reach out to my graphic designer, who's a third party, reach out to my filmographer, who's a third party. Like, they all work for me on this amazing team that we've built. So it makes life, I think, as a marketer in our industry a lot easier. I think I'm blessed and I have it really good over here. And it, it makes me better. I mean, they make me look great, because we do sit in a room together and we make each other's ideas better, like, every day. We start with, someone has a little idea, and then we're like, yes, but what if we do this? And what if we do that? And what if we do this? And the end results usually pretty solid and fun.
Yeah, pretty good. So let's back up for just a second and give us your background. How long you've been at Schell Brothers, what you did before that, what your title is now, what a day in the life is like. Kind of introduce us, people that haven't met you. Yeah.
Of course. So I actually have a fashion design background. I had my own line for years and years and years, and sold to Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's. I had a showroom in New York City. I was in New York most days, and traveled all across the country selling my line and partnering with some big brands. And then I had my husband and I did this together, and we had a bunch of retail stores, and the world changed a lot. With the internet, and we had our own factory. We made our own clothing here domestically, and it just got easy. The world got small. It got easier to make clothing, overseas, ease back our business and just focus on retail for many years. And we were in Pennsylvania then, and we moved to the beach. We moved to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, which is where we live now. We've been here 24 years. I can't believe that. And I had a store downtown Rehoboth Beach, like 50-yard line. And we had a couple other retail stores as well, but I worked in that store. I loved it. I loved what I did. I was super involved in the community. I was like the president of Main Street, on the chamber board, running events in town. And when retail really, really changed about 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago. You know, I was like, okay, the writing's on the wall here. This is hard and it's really not that fun anymore. People were coming in and taking a picture and then going online and trying to get it. And I was like, I need to change my life. And I was old, right? I was like 40. So yeah, it was crazy. So I like fell into a bunch of great things that were awesome. And one day, about 7 years ago, a mutual friend of the owner of the company, Chris, called me and was like, hey, do you want to be the director of marketing for Schell Brothers? And I was like, what? I don't know anything about the home building industry. I don't know, you know, and I actually like, I had changed my life a little bit, was running events and doing PR and things were going really well. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. And he's like, well, just meet with him and let's see. And Chris and I had known each other. Like, this is a really small town. His sister-in-law and I did events together. His wife shopped in my store. So we knew who each other were, but we weren't friends. We were friendly. So we had lunch together and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. He's so entrepreneurial. I really like him. You know, maybe I should be open to this. And then he called me again. I guess his HR person called me again and was like, just meet some of the leadership in the company. Because, you know, I guess they had a lot of turnaround with marketing directors and I don't know what was happening exactly. So I met a couple people and I really liked everybody. And then I met Jamie Hastings, which you guys may know. She's our director of sales. She's a fiery redhead. She's in the Jeff Shore group. She's awesome. And I was like, okay, this is sealing the deal. Like, I need to work with this human. She's a go-getter. She's sharp. She's a woman in our industry. And I like Chris so much. So I took a leap of faith 7 years ago and definitely best decision of my life. I love her. I love my team. I love everyone I work with. It really their mission of happiness that Schell Brothers has aligns with my mission in life. I have 3 daughters and I've told them since they can understand words, like, you have 2 choices in the morning. You can wake up happy or you can wake up miserable. That's your choice. And that's kind of what, like, the mantra here, you know? So everything that happens here really aligns with me personally, and my ideals. So it's been really awesome. And I have the most talented team in the country, I would say. I really have an amazing team.
Oh, yeah.
And my day-to-day life, that's a really funny question. I actually told the team that you were asking me that and they laughed because they were like, your day-to-day life is like crazy every day. It's never
every day.
I was like, you're totally right. I'm in a lot of meetings, most unfortunately, maybe, but we have a lot of fun and we're always brainstorming here. And we also have a really fun Christmas village that we do events in all year long. So I'm always like involved in that at some level. We have a coffee house downtown. So I'm always like thinking about that as well, in addition to, you know, we're growing as a company. So we're launching a new division. So I'm really excited about that. And I've spent a lot of brain power on that. And we are also launching a new website in September. So yeah, that's a big, heavy lift. But luckily I have some great people.
Yeah. And so for those that aren't familiar with Schell Brothers as a builder.
Sure.
So tell us what markets you're in, kind of what kind of product you build, price points, that type of thing.
So we're a luxury new home builder. We've been in Delaware for 21 years. It was our 20th anniversary last year. We celebrated. We got Builder of the Year, Pro Builders Builder of the Year. So we're really excited about that. Then we launched Richmond, and then Nashville is about 2.5 years old. And you're hearing it here first. We're launching in Boise in late 2024. So we're really excited about that. Our executive team will be out there in 2 weeks, just doing a whole whirlwind tour of Boise. Our average price point is about 800,000 plus. So we're not fitting the mold of a typical production home builder, which it's a niche that's really worked well for us and served us well in the 21 years we've been in business. We have a lot of varied product, anything from a 36 attached. We do attached twin. We do townhomes, not a lot, primarily single family, anywhere from 36 to 60 foot houses. We also self-develop. So we do work with developers, but we develop a lot of projects on our own. So a lot of heavy lifting done here in this building.
Yeah. So I feel like that I having attended nationals for so many years, I feel like I've heard your name called a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So humble brag. I know it's not something that you would just say,
Right.
but I'm asking you.
Okay.
So I want people just to
Appreciate that.
understand the quality of your marketing and the
Yeah.
longevity of what you all have built. So, I don't know how far back you want to go, but if you want to kind of share, give people some idea of the awards won.
Sure. Sure. Well, we had a
Yeah.
great year this year. We won 14 awards this year, which is the most in the history of the company. I know. I was like blown. I had high hopes. And it's so funny because Lisa, who runs the national awards, when I told Chris, we were up for so many awards, Chris is my boss, Chris Schell. He
Yeah.
was like, well, let's bring the whole team to nationals. And we have like 28 people that come to the Builder Show. So ahead of
Yeah.
time, I texted Lisa and I'm like, please God, I hope I'm not embarrassed. I'm taking a leap of faith. And I thought,
Yeah.
if we at least get one, I'm winning.
Right.
14 national awards. We got 3 gold awards. Game Day, which I think you're going to show later, was our video. An award for our
Yes.
community spirit, Shellville, which is our Christmas village. And then our floor plan, the Lilac, won gold in Nashville. So we're really proud of that. Our marketing team won a ton of awards. We had a tail wagging testimonial series last year that was like really fun, a little, outside the box, and that won a
You know
bunch
what?
of awards.
Because this is so fun, and we have figured out you are the cat's pajamas when it comes to creative. So now break one of those down. You get to pick it. Like when you just said wagging the dog's tail.
Tail wagging testimonials. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
What is
tell
it?
you that we
Yeah.
need to know that because it
Yeah.
is one of the things that I'm preaching. Go
Yeah.
to your own people that say the best things about you. So hit it.
Right. So the funny thing is we do testimonials all the time, right? And I had this thought, I think this was my thought to start with, and then the team obviously made it awesome. I was like, our homeowners love their pets so much. And we've done a couple commercials with animals before, and they like really resent, people love them. Yeah. So I was like, what if we do like this whole campaign about how pets love our houses, not how the homeowners love our houses? And so we noodled it for a while, and it was really fun. We got some of our employees' dogs. We've got one of our homeowners has a really cool bird. So we and we used a hamster. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we did basically like these fun commercials. So it was video content and print content, which we won national
Yeah.
both actually. That was
Okay. Is the hamster one
the
stretch
hamster.
your hamstrings?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I am going to hit share. I'm going to go to your YouTube channel. Hold on. Share. All right. Now I'm going to do this. Now, Angela, I want to do this with sound. So how don't I have to do something special when I go to
Maybe turn
share
up
it?
your volume. I'm there may be a way to integrate the
Look at, yeah, I remember that.
So one of the things that we wanted to do was like show off the houses as well,
Yeah.
so show product, but make it kind of just irreverent enough and fun.
Yeah.
So this is one of our models, and it's actually really funny. If you can't show the volume, he's talking about his exercise
Yeah.
regime in his house that has so much room, which was really fun. And then we had dogs who were like taking a walk in the neighborhood, and there was like a cute dog on the front porch, and the girl dogs were like, oh my gosh, we'd love to see his house. We heard he has a dog washing station, so we like did that whole thing. And then the bird was like really happy about all of his natural light. We didn't do a cat yet. There's plans in the future to do a cat still. But it was like just
Right? Haven't we always heard puppies and babies? And now
puppies.
you went to birds.
We went to birds. The dog was our first commercial. And then we did the hamster, and then we did the birds. But, you know, we've gotten so much great feedback from these commercials. And they're just like, you at least, at the very least, you're paying attention, right?
Yes.
You're like, oh, what is Yeah.
Yeah.
The bird
Okay,
one.
advanced sharing. Oh, it doesn't say, I'm seeing in the, it says when you select share, choose advanced, then share audio, but it's not giving me that option, you guys. I'm sorry.
Well, you
I
can
should have
they're all on
tested
our
this.
YouTube channel. So they're all right there.
Yeah,
our
they're
website.
all right there. I know Angela was going to put the YouTube channel in the link in, and you can see it here.
I love
Game Day.
Yeah, Game Day is terrific. Yeah. So here's
Go ahead.
Here's Game Day. Yeah.
So
dark, musty, and cramped, but we got this. Bring it in. 1, 2, 3. Man, I totally forgot you got a new show home.
Yeah, we moved in a few months ago. Wait, where'd everyone go?
This snack table is huge!
I can't tell if I'm inside or outside. Oh yeah, that's fresh.
Get a Schell home, they said. All of your friends will want to come over to the game, they said.
So I still love to watch that one. So that one,
I love that one.
Yeah, I love it too. Those guys all work for us, and they can't wait to be in another commercial because they're
stars now.
Yeah, they're like, we got so much for that. Yeah, and I do a big sports buy in every market, so I always try to do fun sports related commercials, and there's a big plan to do more. These guys are gonna be starring in a lot of commercials moving forward.
Well, that's somebody's asked in chat, and this is actually one of my questions on my list was, how are you leveraging these? Are you using them just on broadcast, or where all and how all do you use these commercials?
Really good question. So I do kind of a big classic TV buy still, but no, my buyer is typically 55 plus. That demographic's changing a little bit with Nashville, and I believe it will with Boise as well. So my buyer's still in that classic TV world. I also do an OTT over the top buy, and I insert these with targeted demographics. So I'm targeting, you know, to the best I can. We're lucky enough that OTT still isn't super stringent on profiling, so you can profile a lot in OTT. So I'm, you know, doing income level, I'm doing new home intenders, I'm qualifying that with all kinds of things, and then always on social. You know, we're always producing social content. Typically, when we do a big campaign like the ones we've discussed, we'll also do an email campaign. We have 48,000 people on our email list, so it's pretty robust, and I'm always trying to.
Sales question.
Yeah.
Because you just talked about the big number on the list.
Yeah.
Who and how do you follow up with all that brilliant stuff that you put out?
Right. So that's a really good question. So if you come to us on our website and convert, and when I say convert, I mean, click a button where you've given us your name and your email address. That's a conversion in my world. We send you a really robust drip campaign, so everybody gets it. And many times we'll have people convert again, which to me is like a big win, because that means I'm pushing them down the funnel, because right, this is the top of the funnel. And sometimes I'm saying, hey, Nashville's great, and I want you to convert on a landing page that's associated with that. Or, hey, Delaware is a great place to retire, convert. And then I'm going to serve you sometimes generic content to get you in the top of my funnel. And then I want to push you down further and further and further and get you to Jamie's team, you know, so she can sell you a house. So I do that with content. You know, I'm telling them, I have a very robust drip campaign about our Schell Brothers brand, about why you should buy a new house. So some of it's not just about Schell Brothers. It's like, why buying a new house is a good idea, how you should pick your floor plan, how you should pick your community. Yes. You know, we do our design team, we have an in-house design studio in every division. So they do, you know, newsletters and updates about like what's on trend right now. So we just try to keep those, their leads is what we call those people leads. And then I'm sure most of you are the same. And then once we know they're engaged, they convert to a prospect. So my job is to keep the leads engaged. Jamie's team's job is to convert the prospects to home buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
One of the things that I love about your YouTube channel is you've got several different kinds of video that you're doing. You have your commercials and they're fun, but you've also got some pretty straightforward, you've got some testimonials, you call them homeowner hot seat videos. So you have a whole series of those. And then it looks like you've got some fairly new community videos that have maybe your sales agents are in them.
Always.
Is that who's?
Yeah. So when we launch, so I have like a little formula we use with the community launch. So we always like to make sure we have a community video. And, you know, I'm sure many of you are potentially doing what I'm doing. And when you're launching a community, it's a piece of dirt. and dream, right? So my team's job is to paint the dream, right? So we'll go out and film the community sales manager wherever it looks the best, sometimes on site, sometimes not on site. And then, we'll do drone footage. Again, I have an in-house team, so I have two guys who have their drone licenses. So we'll do drone footage, we'll do streetscape footage of a community that's similar when we can. It was very challenging at the launch of Nashville because all of our elevations are different materials. So we were really painting a dream that we didn't have when we launched Nashville. Yeah, but we do community videos, always. Testimonial videos are always refreshed constantly. I'm not going to reveal all my secrets, but we're doing a whole new testimonial series. It's going to be so cool. I cannot wait.
Yeah. Good.
How about
and I noticed that a lot of your videos feature pets, particularly dogs.
Yeah.
But that seems to be like a hot button that you're hitting on purposefully.
For sure, purposefully. So we know, everyone loves their pets, right? Our homeowners many of them are retired, so their kids are gone. So they love their pets even more. All their attention is focused on their pets. So, yeah, I mean, we have dog washing stations as an option in our houses, some of our floor plans. So, and, all kinds of we do happy stories with our homeowners, and inevitably a pet's involved in a happy story, because, people love their pets. So we don't sell to as many young families. So we're not always about the babies. Sometimes we do that, but
grandbabies.
Yeah, the grandbabies. We do that too. Yeah, my poor kids. My kids when I started were 10 and 12, and now they're 17 and 19. And I use them so much at the beginning to be grandkids, and they're like, we're done. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, we're done.
We're out.
Yeah.
So, hey, quick question, because all of our people love to, on Builder Town Hall, follow best practices of people that are successful. And we pride ourselves in having those things. So a couple things. We touched on print, because everybody's trying to guess where to put their marketing dollars, right? Where will it work? So in our pre-show, we talked a little bit about billboards. You've mentioned print. So do you have, not a formula, but it's like a success quotient from Schell Brothers that people could emulate?
Well, one thing I'm lucky enough to have is we do our own in-house magazine, which has also won a gold award. So we print that ourselves biannually and distribute that all across the region and to all of our homeowners. And it features our beautiful houses, our beautiful neighborhoods. We do an employee feature. We do a homeowner feature in that. We highlighted a day trip close to one of our locations. We do lots of recipes. So we're producing that content ourselves. I would say that's really hard for most new home builders because you don't have an in-house marketing team. And then I still do lots of print ads, usually in tandem with digital. So I'm not typically just I do take print ads out in our local paper. only because we have a million tourists who come into our beach town starting very, very soon, and they read the Cape Gazette. So I don't take as many out in the wintertime. I take 5 in a row out in the summertime so I can tell a story.
Know your
They're in
audience.
season.
Yeah.
They're in
Mhm.
season.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. So I usually
Yeah.
do a story when I'm doing print, that kind of print ads. So you'll
Yep.
flip through and it'll be like, oh, here's one pet. Oh, here's the other pet. Here's the third pet. Here's the fourth pet, or
Yep.
whatever that is at that moment. And
But
then
you know your customer, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah, totally.
our customer currently, until we maybe go to
Right.
Nashville, is
Right.
55 plus. And that demographic print is still valuable. Like the 4x6 card sits on a counter for me as my reminder to go somewhere, because I still think paper. So it's all
you're so right. My mom still cuts out news articles for me from where I grew up. And she did last night. I talked to her last night. She's like, I cut a news article out for you. I was like, that's great. Thank you so much. And then our receptionist, our lunchtime receptionist is retired also. So she just comes in at lunch, and she's older. And my kids play sports. And every time they're in the paper, she cuts it out for me and gives it to me, or she'll cut out ideas. So our demographic, absolutely still using print. I also think, I don't know. I mean, I might be our demographic too, almost, not quite. But I also think there's something to a really nice magazine that people might keep, like a coffee table type magazine. So when I am still using that classic print, I'll advertise in like a high-end magazine that I know people are going to hold on to and refer to. I don't know if you guys know the Scout Guide. It's around all kinds of, it's a franchise. They produce a beautiful publication. And I would advertise in there. It's called the Scout Guide.
Okay.
It's expensive, but it's really extremely well done. And we produced our own ads, but they'll produce ads for you, and they're beautiful. Like, they just are elevated marketing.
Yep.
And you keep it. Like, it's so funny because I had like 4 on my desk, and my head photographer who does our magazine had 2 on her desk, and we have a sister company that has an interior design company, and she had 2 on her desk, all from like different areas. We're all like creative people and collect things that we think are special. And we didn't even realize we were doing it in a vacuum. And then we started talking one day, and we're like, oh my gosh, we all have the Scout Guide. That's crazy. So
Angela, I think you were trying to get in there.
Oh, well, what I wanted to, this kind of going back to the creative process, and not, when you work with creative people, you're full of ideas, and ideas are great, but ideas create more work.
And like execution, it matters, right?
How do you kind of stay on track? Like, looking at, I think you're probably the only builder with a coffee shop. I don't know. Maybe there might be somebody else now, but how do you get to that point and still stay on track with achieving your goals?
Right. It is a big job, for sure. And so one thing we do really well here is we have a project management platform that organizes my life and my team's life. So we have it's called Basecamp. It's really easy to use. I don't know if you guys know it. We also collab with 3 third parties on that. But so we have an idea dump zone where, I'm on our startup team as well. So our community startup team, we're always thinking about new amenities and new signage and things like that. So we have an idea zone for that. We have a marketing idea zone. We have a Schellville, which is the Christmas Village idea zone. We have a coffee house idea zone. So we're putting crazy stuff in there, but I'm also assigning tasks and reviewing work in there all the time. So it keeps us on Monday morning, sometimes Sundays, I'll go in, I'll make sure all my assignments are created for everybody, because it just keeps the whole team on track for the week. And keeps me to task too, because, sometimes I get a little crazy creative and go off the rails. That is how we manage our life here at Schell Brothers. But the marketing team, at least, not everybody here uses Basecamp, but our marketing team, we do, and our startup team does. And it's a great space because you can manage projects really well, but you can there's like room to be creative in there, I feel like, and just dump crazy ideas. And they just sit there, to your point, Meredith. And then you can go back to them and visit them and figure out what's awesome and maybe what's not so good.
Helps you
Yeah,
prioritize.
you need a library. I'm a big fan of the streaming show Hacks, HACKS on HBO Max.
Okay.
And the third season just came out, and the first two episodes are out. And it's an aging comedian who is played by Jean Smart, who is still wicked funny and sharp as ever. And she has these giant Rolodexes of all her stories. And she's like 3 of them. And so when she in the new episode, she's trying to prepare for an interview on late night and of the Tonight Show. And so they're going through her giant Rolodex of stories. Now that's a dated way of organizing all your material. Yeah. But for some people, I mean, I have these, but these go into, well, I can't really show you, but I've got a whole colored file folder system over here that all of these go into. And so the moment I'm like trying to think, I need creativity, I need sales, I need marketing, I need digital, I have all that. And then I go through all my papers and I'm like, oh, that one was good. Kerry, you used to have your flip charts and you'd go through your trading flip charts on all, like that was your library. So everybody has a different way. Some of you are digital, but you need a way to constantly pull in ideas and document them while you've got it. Because I don't care how young or old you are, you will forget a good idea. It doesn't matter.
It's like a little snippet, right? It doesn't have to be a thought out idea. It's like, oh God, I have this tagline that could be cool. Yeah, or whatever.
It's a kernel.
Yeah.
I mean, I've literally just written down a word that I thought was a fun word that I could make into something.
There's always going to be a place for pencil and paper to catalog our thoughts, I think, along with digital and storing them. There's a difference between storage and going back. Right. And I just think that, when you talk about Basecamp and you put it in, it doesn't mean when someone puts a crazy idea in there that they should stop what they're working on and switch to that. Because it's a startup and switch that if I get caught in, I'm like, stop it, girlfriend. You weren't even this brilliant idea. And now you think more brilliant.
Yeah. No,
oh my God, this whole conversation's gone by so fast. It's just been absolutely fantastic. I've loved every minute of it. What do you, Alyssa, before we wrap up, what did we not ask you, or what would you kind of want people to know about either Schell Brothers or how you put the fun in fun factor? Like what parting thoughts do you have for us?
Good question. So I think one of the things that you kind of touched on and that I believe and live like and tell, my team every day is like, you can never stop thinking about ideas. It's not like we're never done. The work is never done. We're always thinking about new ideas, and we're, to all 3 of your point, making sure we're documenting it. If it's a word or a sentence or an image, sometimes, we're all very image, we're capital humans, we're all creators. So we'll see some fun image and be like, oh, like this is inspirational. How do we do this? So our testimonial series that we're about to launch, it's going to be so fun and cool. We were inspired by a really big brand, and we just did our take on, not a home builder, are doing our version of this in a testimonial format, which should be really cool. So I'm always on the lookout too, like keep your eyes peeled, right? Even I'm terrible because when I'm on vacation and I walk into a cool restaurant, I'm like, ooh, what can I do at a coffee house that's like this cool restaurant, you know? Or what can I do at a brand ambassador? I have a brand ambassador party tonight, at a brand ambassador party that would make it kind of like this and cool. So I'm always on the lookout for these really creative, inspiring moments in life. And I think that to me would be the biggest advice. Keep your eyes open.
And how does that translate to you personally? How
Right.
does that, like, do you find that to be a really, it sounds like it's a source of fuel to you personally, that it's, you know, instead of draining you, it feeds you.
Oh, 100%. I get overly excited about ideas, and then my mind goes crazy. And my husband's really entrepreneurial, and my boss is really open-minded, and he loves creativity, which is like a dangerous, because I'll be like, I have this crazy idea. I want to buy an old school bus and turn it into a Project Kudos bus, because we have this thing called Project Kudos that we do. And he's like, yeah, okay, do it. So I did.
You're like, okay.
I wasn't expecting
that. As we bring all of this together, if you didn't get to hear the three of us speak in Vegas, please register for the May 14th program that ECI Lasso CRM is going to put together, because the three of us are going to, at a high level, talk about how you accomplish what Schell Brothers is doing. And we're going to talk about it from the website to the digital marketing, how AI comes along and augments that across your channels. And then, you know, Kerry's going to talk about the very important team leadership culture aspect that, frankly, Alyssa, you brought up so many times. You know, my boss allows me to just do it. And so brainstorms with me, and I have this great team. I mean, like, none of this would be possible without the group you're working with, which is what Kerry's going to cover really beautifully and brilliantly. So I think the three of us will kind of do this justice. Hopefully, we need to go back over our slides. It's been a while since the Builder Show, but we're looking forward to it, and we just can't thank you enough. You definitely have put the fun factor in action. Like I said, I've been a fan for years. There was a commercial where you had two guys in safari outfits.
Oh yeah.
Going around a neighborhood, and they were popping up behind the bushes and like looking at homeowners on the porch, and they were talking in fake British accents. And it was like, it was one of my favorite things.
That was a real British accent. He's a Brit.
Okay. Well,
he did a very good job.
They have their own private label beer now called Frank and the Brit.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And then there was one where the dog was the actor, and he had like an agent, and they had to talk on the phone like, okay, the dog will do this and not that, and the dog doesn't like this, and make sure there's none of those when the dog gets there. And those were years ago, and I remember them vividly.
That's awesome.
So I've been such a fan for a long time. I'm really thankful and appreciative for you sharing your time and talent today with everything you have going on. So we thank you. We hope everybody enjoyed it. We hope it was a fun session for you to listen to. And
there she goes.
Okay. Yep, she's ready for hockey tonight. Go get her. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you in June.
You're so cute in a hat. You are so cute in that.
She's cute in a hat, right?
Now I can't take it off.
Bye, everybody.
All your Zooms today have to be in the hat. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
100%. Bye.
Bye, Alyssa.